Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Thursday, January 29th, and this is episode number 332. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me tonight is my brother, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how are things going?
Terrific, Rod. I want to tell a story real quick before we bring in our guest, because I've been thinking all week about my sophomore year of college. You'll remember that at the time I had a 1976 Grand Prix, which was a pretty luxurious car, right?
Yeah, I remember that car. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty nice, but there were some issues. I had done some engine work, some transmission work stuff, and I just kind of got tired of it, and I was kind of upside down on it and everything. So I got rid of it, and I bought a 1970 Cutlass Supreme convertible. And
yeah,
that car was trash.
Yeah.
It blew black smoke out the exhaust. You could hear it coming a mile away. The seats were ripped in it. The top was ripped in it. The tires were bald. But I made it through a winter in that car. And then I went ahead and just bought a new car in the spring. I guess my point is I did not upgrade. I thought I was upgrading, but I did not upgrade, which brings us to tonight's topic.
It happens. Yeah. We'll get more thoughts on the upgrading or not, but a good story, Jeff. Yeah, I remember you. Whoever you sold that car to used to drive past the house, and you used to talk about how they slipped it out of into neutral and revved the engine every time they drove past.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyways, so with us tonight to discuss, commiserate, or whatever we're going to do tonight, I guess we'll find out. Is Andy Mansion? You can. Andy's part of the Dog Chug, so check them out at Dog Chug. You guys just recorded last night, Andy?
Last night.
Yes. So yeah. And you're people can follow you. And I think I asked you about your Twitter handle last time you were on. So it's, is it short for Catalina Manch Mix?
Yes. Catalina Manch Mixer.
Catalina Manch Mixer. Follow him at that, kind of abbreviated. So but you guys are all following it, Andy, already. Anyways, so thanks for joining us tonight, Andy. It's good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I actually had to miss yesterday's show because I was at that amazing Cavs win.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And LeBron be washed up, so I didn't get the chance to unload all my my thoughts.
Wow, this is
you guys asked. I was like, oh, I gotta come out.
Great.
All right, so we're here for therapy session.
Hell yes.
So before we move on to football and our beverages and stuff, was last night LeBron's last appearance in Cleveland?
Well, he did look a little washed up, so I don't know. However, he also looked very sentimental. He seemed wide-eyed the entire time. Every time out I was watching him, and he seemed to be taking it all in. Seemed to be in a very emotional night for him. So who knows? Maybe he'll run it back one more time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think we need to caution our expectations if that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I watched a little bit of that game on, I think it was on ESPN last night. And I was struck with the idea that, this guy, he's 41 years old and he still plays like he is the focal point.
It's true.
Of the basketball team. I mean, I thought by this point he'd be saying, "Okay, I'll take more of a backseat, secondary role on a team." But no, man, everything runs right through him still. I mean, I can see him. People have talked about bringing him here and fitting him in and stuff, but man, how do you do that? You got 4-star players on this team right now. How do you put LeBron in there and not take shots away from everybody else?
I think you're bringing him in as a player coach. I think you're bringing him in for the experience more than you're bringing him in for the minutes. So he's got to have diminished minutes. You got to make sure he understands that up front.
Yeah. Well, definitely the championship pedigree would help. I mean, that seems to be where this current group has a hard time.
Yeah.
How do you win in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
it was interesting for me because I remember when Michael Jordan was on his final season, he was going to every arena saying goodbye, and it was crazy. That was the year before LeBron graduated high school, so the Cavs they were winning like 8 games that season or whatever. So everyone was there. There were celebrities all over the place. LeBron, like a 17-year-old LeBron, was sitting, or I could see him across the way with his people, and it was just so cool to take in being there for that experience all the years, and now this might have been his final game.
Yeah,
crazy.
Been a roller coaster.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. Well, guys, let's get on to our Blitz beverages and what we're drinking tonight. So we got a house expert here in with us tonight, Jeff. So we're gonna let Andy go first too. So what are you drinking tonight, Andy?
A little boring tonight. I've got Christmas ale I'm working on right now because you still got some of those in the fridge.
Yeah,
I want to get to those before they get too old because they don't taste great after they get too old. Got a Zombie Dust, which is just a classic, good IPA, and then some light beers.
Busch Light,
Coors Light. Let's go.
All right, excellent. Jeff, you drink anything tonight?
Well, I was confident that Andy would drink enough for both of us, so I just have a glass of water.
You got the transparent water there. Okay.
Like your highball.
Yeah, I think I got this for Christmas. This is the Vine Steffner Hellies.
Wow.
Or however you say that. So that's from straight from Bavaria, guys. Brewed continuously since the year 1040.
That looks delicious. I would really like to chug that.
I bet you would. I'm gonna work on it though, Andy. I'm gonna enjoy it probably throughout the entire show. So.
Nice.
But yeah, so that will cover our Blitz beverages, and we're just gonna watch Andy drink all those beers throughout the show.
Yeah, awesome.
We might need an intermission so I can go get more.
We can do an intermission. That's no problem. Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So, gosh, guys. So, man, it's been a wild week. Jeff, where were we when we last recorded? We last recorded Thursday, and were we at 3 or 4 or 5 candidates?
Yeah, I think
last
we were down
Thursday.
I think we're down to 4 at that point. I don't remember if Udinsky had pulled out yet. It might have been right after Udinsky pulled out, so we might have been down to 3.
Yeah, and kind of the world was caving in. It was starting kind of then.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just get to it, guys. What did you guys think when you heard the news that it was Todd Monken? I mean, how surprised were you? How, I don't say happy. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where you guys stood on each of the 3 candidates that were left. So, what'd you guys think? Andy, let's let you go first because I'm not sure where you stood on this. So I'm anxious to hear.
I think everyone was shocked, right? It was the one guy no one was talking about. So I think you either thought they were going to go with the young gun or they were going to go with the established guy that was already in the building that every player seemed to love. So Monken was a little bit of a wild card, but I think when you take a look at it, I mean, look, the Browns didn't really have a good choice. There were 10, 11 teams looking for new head coaches. We have Deshaun Watson in the building. We have a rookie Shedeur Sanders who might be good. He might be, I don't know. So I don't think we had the most attractive job. You also have to work under Andrew Berry, which is pretty awkward given that he's been with the Browns for a very long time. So tough job for us to fill. I knew it was going to be tough. Not particularly. I mean, I wanted to go young. Let's throw a Hail Mary. If he's the next big thing, great. If he's not, you clean house next year. Do it all over again. We're good. We'll trade in for another piece of shit car, right? That's an upgrade. That's all to say we didn't really have a great choice, but I think if you were going to go with Monken or Schwartz, the way I look at it is, who the hell are you going to get to be offensive coordinator if Schwartz was your guy? I mean, there's 14 teams looking for offensive coordinators, so we would have gotten whoever was left on the scrap pile. and our offense is what needs to dramatically get better. Like, I feel like if Schwartz does leave, they'll probably be able to attract someone with some credentials because there's so much talent on that defense. Offense, though, we need to get that going. So I think it makes somewhat sense in that instance. Not that I'm loving the Monken choice, but I think if we can come in and upgrade our offense somewhat and our defense can at least stay like top 10, I think we can win some games. And that's probably what this team needs right now, is to stop being losers.
And you make a good point with the offensive coordinator. We're probably not, unless they really make things happen quickly somehow, we're probably not picking higher than like 12th on the OC, draft chart here. Guys are going to take jobs other places first.
Yeah.
So
you're competing with Philly and Baltimore at this point, like teams that have established great quarterbacks, great offenses.
Yeah.
Browns aren't getting anyone that has established they can do it. Maybe you find a dark horse that comes in and it's great, but you're really going to have to, get lucky on that account. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah. So Jeff, let's get your thoughts on just kind of how this went down.
Yeah, I brought Todd Monken up a few weeks ago, and I really kind of felt like he was out of the running because he would just opt to stay with Harbaugh. There we go, number 2, Andy. Good job. Yeah, I mean, none of this is a slight to Todd Monken, and everybody in town's been saying this, right? That hey, he's a great football man. He's got a long NFL career, and he's going to be a good head coach. It says more about the Browns organization than it does about Todd Monken, and I've been saying this for weeks now that this is just an unenviable position. It's just it's a really tough spot to put a coach in, and for me, I was in on Todd Monken to the extent that the Browns would be able to retain Jim Schwartz. That made sense to me. Okay, whether or not you kept Tommy Rees and the rest of the coaching staff, it didn't matter. I mean, because if you kept Jim Schwartz and you just stayed the same on defense, you could bring Monken in and you could convince us that, okay, we are going to go in a different offensive direction, but we're going to do it with a soft reset. Well, guess what? We've been saying that this organization is headed for a hard reset. I'm pretty sure it's here. This is the hard reset. This is, maybe we've got one more year of trying to make Deshaun Watson work, but you really are trying to get to the end of that deal right now. And they just opted to start the reset this year instead of last year or next year. So now we just get to see what happens in 2026. And like Andy said, we can just go through the whole process again in 27.
Yeah, guys, I just heard not long ago that they said that that Monken got a 5-year deal. Now, a couple of things are interesting. First, that it's a 5-year deal, and second, that we know that it's a 5-year deal. Now,
I think that's pretty standard now.
Well, maybe it is, but
for head coaches,
it feels like when Kevin Stefanski was hired, and even when he signed extensions, they've kept all this so hush hush. We didn't know what Kevin's deal even was most of the time,
right?
And they would announce it every now and then that he signed an extension or whatever. But man, when he signed his contract, we didn't even know how long his contract was. His first one, I don't think.
Right. Yeah.
But we know Monken's signed a 5-year deal, so I mean, maybe it is standard. Maybe that's what.
Yeah, I mean, we heard that John Harbaugh signed a 5-year deal. We heard that Stefanski signed a 5-year deal. I think that's pretty much boilerplate for NFL head coaches now. I mean, that's why they take the job, right? They know even if I get fired in a year, I've got a golden parachute. So.
Yeah. Do you think that? Do you guys think that makes it any more likely that they do a full reset after this season? Get rid of Barry and bring in a new head coach after this season?
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy cares about the money.
Okay. That's peanuts to him.
Yeah.
I mean, with coaches' salaries, I mean, the way it works, I think, is you get hired somewhere else, that contract blows up anyway. So, for instance, they would have been paying Stefanski if he had opted not to go to Atlanta, but since he took the Atlanta job, now they're not paying him, right? So, Monken probably gets another job as an offensive coordinator someplace else in a year if they jerk the rug out from under him.
Probably so.
I don't know how that would work, but realistically, they got nothing to lose to run him out there for a year and see what happens.
Yeah, which brings us to Jim Schwartz. We'll get back to Todd Monken and some other things with him, and how it's going to be moving forward with him. But I don't know how much we talked about it on the podcast, Jeff. But the whole thought was, it seemed like the Browns were trying to tiptoe around making sure that they had guys who were willing to work with Jim Schwartz. But now with what's happened, it's like, did they bother to check with Jim on this? Did you ask Jim, say, hey, if we hire somebody else, are you going to be okay with that? You understand you're one of 3 or 4 or 5 candidates. We still want you around regardless of how this goes. Did they have this discussion with him, or did they not? Did they screw this up, or is he just a hothead that felt like he was the best guy and he was going to blow his top no matter what if he didn't get the job? I don't know what to think about this.
Well, just when you think you have Jimmy Haslam figured out, he finds a new way to blow things up on his own. Yeah, I don't know, Rod. I mean, I told you when they fired Stefanski that I'm beyond the point of taking these guys seriously anymore. They have no plan. They have no direction. They just seem to kind of willy-nilly decide to do things that sound good to them. And if that doesn't work, then they're off to the next harebrained idea that they think will make them winners. And realistically,
it feels that way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so why does it surprise us that they didn't see Jim Schwartz having a conniption fit coming? I mean, when we were hearing all along was that, we're looking for somebody who will work with our existing defensive people and bring a compliment on the offensive side. They made all those statements publicly, and then they just go ahead and blow it up anyway. So yeah, I can't take them seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I want to like Jim Schwartz. I loved having him here. I personally, I don't think he's coming back. I think it's very slim chance that somebody talks him into coming back, but I mean, it's possible.
I don't know why he would.
I don't think he will, but I was thinking today, I'm like, you know what? This defense, these guys all stood up for him, wanting him to get the job, man.
Yeah. He
didn't just leave the Browns. He left those guys too when he had a year left. So I just kind of wonder how those guys feel about it too. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a divorce situation where the dad, is so pissed off he just takes off, but man, he left his kids there,
Yeah.
Wow. So I don't know. What do you think, Andy?
My thought, and I understand there's so much in the media about how pissed off he is and how he's saying goodbye and he's doing all these things. It seems like there's a little bit too much, maybe. And I kind of think like there's a chance that he understands what the game is. He understands how bad the Browns look right now. And he realizes, hey, if I play my cards right, I'm going to become the highest paid defensive coordinator in NFL history because they're going to make me, look.
Why not?
A year ago at this time, we were talking about Miles being out of here and it was unrepairable and money talks.
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Guys are willing to sacrifice their dignity for Benjamins.
Here's the thing about Schwartz with this job. He obviously likes the players like him. He's got a stacked roster. The shine ain't coming off him if he comes back, even if the Browns continue to collapse. And, he's already here. And they're going to pay him way more money than anyone else would. So maybe he's pissed off, or maybe maybe he calms down in a couple days and realizes this, or maybe this is all just part of the game. I don't know, but I'm not getting as outraged by all the what the media is trying to push down our throat right now. We'll see what happens.
I like that. You're not seeing anything, really, any actual news about Jim Schwartz, about anything else coming out, no comments from him,
it's all I heard.
Nothing about him talking.
And the timing was even a little weird. It was like 20 minutes after they announced Monken, you already are hearing Schwartz is out, which again just makes me feel a little.
Literally just stormed out.
But back to how did they not let him know? Like he thought he was getting the job. I think the Browns have their biggest issue is trying to manage everyone, trying to tell everyone what they want to hear, and then believing they have the power to like straighten it out after the fact. They're such an insecure organization, the way they handle things. They want to keep everything hidden from the press. They don't want anyone talking.
Yeah.
That's why I think Monken might be the perfect guy, because he seems like a no bullshit. I'm just going to tell like it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin didn't. I understand Baker was being Baker again by coming out and attacking Stefanski, but it is shocking that the coach of the Cleveland Browns wouldn't call the quarterback to wish him well, or sorry it ended like this. The fact that he didn't make a phone call, that is staggering. And I believe Baker. I don't think Baker makes things up. Kevin is. I loved him here. I think we should have kept him, but that is a really weird story that makes me wonder why Kevin had so many favorites and guys that just didn't seem to like him on this team. I'm hoping Monken is the medicine for that. Players just want you to be honest and want you to be real. In my experience,
he may be
a football player for 10 years,
I think every coach has favorites. So we're going to see who Monken's favorites are, I guess. And was that part of the interview process? We're finding out that the question was asked, well, what do you do with Shedeur Sanders? How do you turn him into a productive quarterback, right? Were the same kind of questions asked about Deshaun Watson? Were the same kind of questions asked about Dylan Gabriel? Tight-lipped, not tight-nipped, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Tight-nipped is a different.
We don't need to know how you like your nips.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So look, we're so far away from being able to get a read on any of this. We don't know who we're going to be running out there on offense. Beyond a couple guys, we don't know who the assistants are going to be. I mean, he hired an O-line coach. Okay, I like that hire, George.
Great hire.
Good hire. Okay, hopefully he brings in a few more quality guys that we'll have some cachet around the league, right? But man, I just don't know why, as a respected coach in the league, why you opt to take this head coaching job when everything's getting blown up. Just such a disaster.
Well, I mean, everything in Cleveland's interesting, but it'll be interesting because we're hearing so much, and I got to say, guys, it bothers me because the age thing keeps coming up. Well, Monken's 59. He's going to be 60, and he hasn't had a head coaching job before. There's got to be something wrong with him. He just never got this opportunity. That's because I'm his age. Nobody's offered me a head coaching job. It doesn't mean I can't do it. I mean, geez,
I kept waiting for the call, but I'm obviously well past that window.
Yeah, no, seriously. There are people who just don't get opportunities. That doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing that job. Okay, yeah. It happens. So I think it's a great opportunity for him. I mean, this was probably the only way he was going to get this opportunity at his age to be a head coach, because a lot of organizations are looking for that shiny young guy to come in and just turn into, McVay or any of these other young guys who have popped up over the last couple of seasons. But going back
it tells me though, Rod, that they're not thinking long term. They're viewing this team as ready to win, and the only thing holding us back from winning was an offensive coach.
Well,
and that's just not reality.
They're thinking 3 to 5. I mean, they're thinking 3 to 5 years. I mean, if they gave him that deal, I would think, at least in their head, they're thinking that right now. But to me, 2 years, yeah,
most.
You're right. No, realistically,
you're looking at the dome in 29. I mean, if we're not winning this year, we're resetting.
Yeah.
And it's just going to go that way every year. I mean, look at the Steelers. Why did the Steelers bring in Mike McCarthy? Because they made the playoffs. The Steelers feel like they are a championship team that just needs a championship head coach's voice and maybe a couple of players, right? And they can win in the playoffs, right?
He may not have the magic that Tomlin had, though.
Well, yeah, but if Jimmy Haslam, don't get me started on him. I mean, I never
fire all year. Love it.
Yeah, it's great for us. But if Jimmy Haslam honestly thinks that we're anywhere close to that, especially by taking a step back on defense, man, I don't know what he's smoking.
Yeah, I was just going to go back to the decision, and I kind of had the feeling when they took so long to make this decision that they were trying to figure out a way to keep all three of these guys. It's like, okay, can we bring in Shieldhouse as our OC under Monken as a head coach? And almost like we got these guys, we like all of them. Can we keep them all? And yeah, I don't know. Just because they do overthink a lot of things, and but anyways, I don't know. I assume Shieldhouse is just going to end up staying with the Rams. He wasn't interviewing anyplace else, was he? Nobody else, no place else that hasn't hired already.
I know he had a couple interviews.
He had another interview right after us. I don't remember who it was. It was at the Bills.
Yes, and they signed Tom Brady to be their head coach. So I think he's going to stay with the Rams.
Yeah,
sounded like he needed a little bit more simmering.
I would think so. I would think that's probably the best move for him. So, so we'll see. Let's go to the Myles Garrett reaction, guys. Did you guys see the Myles Garrett reaction? I guess it was on Instagram. Just the picture of the guy with his head or his face in his hands, like I guess it's a disappointed reaction. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I saw it. So okay. Myles has been very vocal about the fact that he's not in on a rebuild. He's just not in on a rebuild.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's said it multiple times that he wants to win. And they obviously gave him some assurances last year, right, to sign that deal. So, yeah, like I said, I think the rebuild's here. And I don't know how they convince Myles otherwise. They obviously have a bigger, higher opinion of themselves and their ability to put together an offense in one off season than any real person would have. Myles is smart enough to know that there's just no way. There's no way they turn this team around in one off season offensively.
Yes. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, Myles' contract, I believe if he was traded this year, it was like $42 million in dead cap we'd owe him. And I think he's getting like $29 million this year. So he's not getting traded this year.
No.
But I do think next year it starts to become a practical reality. So, if this team bottoms out, then then we clearly have to rebuild, and he should clearly have to be traded, and he'll clearly get us 2 first-round picks. I think even at a year from now, he's that good still. He's got that much production, I believe. So I think when they extended that deal, it was, let's see if we can get this thing to take off. If not, we still can trade him before he's out of his prime. And that made a lot of sense to me. So we'll see. If they can get this thing going, but I'm not that worried about it. I love Myles Garrett on Sundays. He's the most fun player to watch, but it's stuff like that. Like, I get he's an emotional guy, but I don't know. You just took the deal. You were excited to be here, and now you're shitting on your team. Stop it.
If you could put the money, the money aside, and if the money weren't such a huge issue, the cap hit, Miles is really at his all-time high right now as far as value coming off it this season. I think he's a three first round pick guy right now.
Sure.
But yeah, I assume it's probably just not possible. But if you're really doing a full rebuild, I think that deal almost makes sense if you could figure out a way to do it.
This year or next
year? This year. Next year, I think you're absolutely right, Andy. Next year, he's a year older. We know he's a physical freak. Maybe he'll put up stats just like he did this year, being a year older, and maybe he'll still maintain that same value. I guess we'll have to see. But I think Miles would probably be fine being traded to a contender, especially if the Browns are going, if they're on a 2 to 3 year rebuild. But let's be realistic here. The change in coaches, how much does that really change the rebuild that was already happening here, guys? Does it really set us, the Browns, back a lot, do you think? As far as, Monken wanting to bring in his guys and, a new defensive coordinator or whatever, if that happens, him needing his guys. Are you guys worried about that? Or are you talking about the rebuild that was already going on and needing O-line and wide receiver help and, and stuff like that?
Yeah, the way I see it, the offense needs so much new. The offensive line is so old; they need to be replaced. The offense needs to be rebuilt. I don't think we have a quarterback that I'm super, I would stake my life on. Our offensive line completely needs to be changed. We don't have wide receivers, so we need to rebuild the offense. Defense, we drafted a bunch of young studs. They were great this year. I expect them to continue being great. So it's kind of a weird thing. We need to fix the offense, whatever. To me, as much as a coaching guru, offensive guru as Kevin was supposed to be, it just never seemed to happen with the offense. There's a lot of inconsistencies, some warts. I like Kevin a lot. I wish we had just held on to him this year. I think the coordinators we had were great and the coaching staff was great. And if another year, who knows? But it was time, I guess. So I'm over it. I think that if we have another draft class like we had this year, we don't need to be totally rebuilding this thing. They could take a couple players, send them out, get some extra draft picks, and they could probably rebuild this thing on the fly. We just need to get a quarterback. We need to get a coach that can coach to the talent, which I don't think we did a good job of the last 2 years. I think we'll be fine. If we could just win 7-8 games, I think how happy would that make us right now? We don't have to be a playoff team today. We just need to not be dog shit.
Do you think they can do enough in one off season to get to 7-8 wins next year?
Think about how fast they attacked the defensive tackle spot. Like Andrew Berry literally said, okay, we got to make defensive tackle a strength instead of a weakness. And they did it. They pulled it off. The defensive tackles were amazing over the last years. They need to do that kind of an overhaul of the offensive line. We haven't seen the Browns really attack offensive line because I think they thought, okay, we got some guys that are a little older, but they can still get the job done. Well, it was clear they couldn't. They got injured, whatever. Yeah. We need to have that kind of an overhaul with the offensive line. If we could do that, I think everything gets better. And I agree, the offensive line hire was great. I think a big upgrade. Baltimore's offensive line, it doesn't matter who they put in there. They all function as a unit. They were fantastic. Do that, and I think we're one big step closer to having an offense that's not dog shit. That's all I want. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. So Jeff, building on what Andy's just talking about with rebuilding that defensive line, it kind of feels like the Browns, Andrew Berry, his staff have been good at attacking one spot like that at a time. Do you have confidence that they can? And you're bringing in new coaches too, and that can obviously help. But Do you have confidence they can work on both the offensive line and the wide receiver room in the same offseason? I'm being totally serious here, guys. I mean, how often have they upgraded 2 rooms in the same offseason?
Yeah, let's look at this by the numbers. I mean, the D tackle position is 4 players. It's maybe 5 players deep, depending, right? And we've had as many as 10 or 12 D tackles in camp the last several years. They're just sort of throwing guys at the wall, hoping something sticks. There's been a lot more misses than hits. They did finally get it right the last couple of years, and particularly this year, they just found the right sauce, I think. But I mean, when you talk about the offensive side, you're talking about 5 positions on the offensive line.
That's a lot.
Where we really have nothing. I mean, we have 2 guys under contract, and those guys have not been good to this point. So can it be done? Of course, but do we have that kind of time? You know, are we going to draft guys and develop them? Are we going to go out and spend big money on free agents, which there aren't a whole hell of a lot of quality free agent tackles? I mean, you could probably find serviceable guards and centers. Would Jeff like to go on record and take the number of the first?
The under on the first Browns game next season.
Yeah.
Taking the under?
That's a given. Yeah, I'll be taking the under until they convince me not to. But I'm concerned about the offense. I've been concerned about the offense because we haven't invested in the offense in 5 or 6 seasons. I'm more concerned about what's going to happen to our defense. I'm because that has been our identity. We actually had a defensive identity the last 3 years. You know, when Joe Woods got run out of town and they went out and they found Jim Schwartz brought an identity on defense that we didn't have. Okay. And I was really hoping that we could put the pieces in place on offense to do the same thing this offseason. Well, now what we've done is we've taken away, assuming that Schwartz is gone, we've taken away the identity on defense as well. And who are we now? You know, what kind of players do we go out and look for? I mean, I told you earlier this week, right? It really simplifies your draft strategy. You know, when you have no plan, you have no identity, you draft the best player. I mean, it makes it simple, right? I mean, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So
yeah,
I'm much more concerned about the fallout on the defensive side than I am about how long will it take to make the offense good, because I never did believe that the offense was going to be good in one season.
Yeah, it's not only the way the defense has performed under Schwartz. I think it is the way the players love to play, loved, however you want to phrase it, because we're not sure right now. Love to play for him, you know, and play together in that defense. And are the Browns going to be able to recreate that if there was another coach, another DC brought in? So I understand your concern. You've got a great set of players there on defense, but it did take that sauce to get those guys to be that good together and to play that well. So, so let's hope they figure it out. I'm not, I mean, obviously Andy's answer is the best, that Jim Schwartz just kind of milks this and gets a nice big contract and comes back. But if not, they're going to have to find the right guy to keep that defense humming, hopefully. Back to Todd Monken. Some people are actually warming up to him a little bit because of, what they're finding out about the way he runs an offense and kind of how he doesn't have a set scheme and how he kind of builds around the players' talents and so forth. and Jeff, I don't know if you were joking or not, but you texted me about how that makes the draft a little bit easier, how you can just kind of draft the best players and you don't have to worry about fitting into anything,
Right.
I mean, you still have positional needs and stuff, but I guess you still want certain types of players, players that are NFL body types and stuff. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Well, let's take tackle for instance. I mean, when you look at the tackles that are available in the draft, and I'm of the opinion that we need to invest in a tackle in this draft. We can take I was going to say we can take one. We can take another one, later in the draft as more of a project. But I want one guy that I know I can plug in right away for sure. Okay. And when you start looking at what those guys look like and the types of systems that they would fit into, there are some distinct differences there. Okay, so how do we know at this point which way to go with those guys when we don't know what we're going to try to do? We don't know who our quarterback is going to be. I mean, we've got a rough idea of what we're going to try to do at quarterback. Maybe.
Maybe.
And nobody's in love with any of it, right?
Unless
we know we need to get better at receiver. So you almost can't go wrong drafting a receiver high. No matter what kind of receiver you draft, he's going to be better than what we have. I mean, as long as he's not taking throws away from Harold Fannin, I mean, it's going to be a win, right? So that's an easy one, I guess. But when it comes time to start going out and finding free agents, we have to do that before the draft, right? We have to go find free agents in March, and the draft's the end of April. We better have a blueprint in mind of what kind of offense we're going to run so we know what kind of players to go out and get. We can't just say, okay, we're going to see who's available and who will sign our contract, and then we'll build an offense around them, right? It's not going to work.
It sounds like Monken's good doing that.
Oh, yeah. Look,
you know what?
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, Rod.
Yeah.
I heard Casey Kinnaman say this earlier that, we'll give Todd Monken the benefit of the doubt. The Browns don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. I agree 100%. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. We'll give Todd Monken the benefit of the doubt for now. See what kind of staff he puts together, what kind of offense he can put out on the field. Okay, but it's just not that easy to do all that. We saw this with when the Browns were an expansion team. You try to throw all that together in one season, it just doesn't work. There's just not enough magic pixie dust in Andrew Berry's briefcase.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to start somewhere. So, you got to bring in whoever you can to help upgrade that offensive line, and then you got to draft some. I don't know how many free agent skill position guys are going to bring in wide receivers. They're probably going to draft a couple of wide receivers, I would think, with the picks they have. I mean, I think it's unrealistic to expect to get all of this offense fixed in one offseason. But I think they should be able to plug in a bunch of holes, and make it. I mean, it's got to be better, right?
It's got to be hard to be worse.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's what we said going into 2025.
Yeah. I mean, but you bring in another offensive guy, a guy who hopefully can actually use these guys to their strengths. And, gosh.
Yeah. Going into 2025, we said, boy, we can't be worse than a 3-win team. We can't have a worse offensive line. We can't be worse at all the skill positions. Aside from the two guys that we drafted, and they were not number 1 picks, they were second and third round picks. We were worse. Our offense, our line got older. Jerry Jeudy played like a shell of himself. Say what you want about the plan, but you just don't have the horses.
We like Jeremy said, we do have a Pro Bowl quarterback. Are we actually going to talk about this, guys?
Nice. Good
Yeah,
one, good
we do
one,
have
Jeremy.
a Pro Bowl quarterback, or actually, we have two of them on the roster. Somebody was saying, I think, but yeah.
Correct.
We'd have a Pro Bowl podcaster if one of our dads was Coach Prime. It's just kind of how that goes.
Yeah. They have a Pro Bowl for this, Andy?
Yeah.
I have not been nominated yet. I don't know about you.
I didn't dog joke neither. We get
How about that?
every year. No, I think on the Golden Globes they had like Best Podcast Award.
That's
Man,
true.
I can't
They
believe
did.
we've been overlooked all these years.
We didn't even get a look.
You got to campaign hard.
I'm sure.
And we know for a fact that guys that they listen to us because they use Jeff's terminology quite a bit.
All the time. It's
all
crazy.
the time. Now, what was the term that you
malpractice?
Jeff said what was it? Reference to the offensive line?
I said what they've done with not drafting tackles for the last several drafts. I said that bordered on malpractice. I coined that term probably 2 seasons ago, and 6 months ago everybody's using it. 6 months ago everybody's using it.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
Innovator.
No, it's just look.
So the big leagues are listening. They're just not.
We all live in this Browns echo chamber where we put out our thoughts and it becomes somebody else's story, right?
That's true. That's true.
We don't know any of this for fact. We only go by what we see, and what I see is a real shit house. I mean, it's. I hate to be this negative tonight, but my God. I just, like I said, I can't take them seriously. I don't think they really understand how bad they are, and how ineffective whatever their plan has been.
Yeah,
that's the problem with being a billionaire. Everyone around you wants a little bit of your billion, so they all tell you everything that you want to hear, and then you think you're Jesus.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know what? I blame Kevin Stefanski, and I give him credit for that at the same time. that he was able to do that for 6 years, but that he was willing to put up with that for 6 years. That this meddlesome owner who always has a shortcut that never seems to work. Instead of letting football people make football decisions and actually having a long-term plan like any good business would have, he's just constantly shifting directions and throwing new things at the wall, and nothing sticks. And I mean, I ripped him for years until he finally said, "Okay, we've achieved alignment." That's all right. You've got your alignment. Let's get it done. I'm going to back you on this, right? And now here we are 6 years later, and we're seeing that it never really even happened. It was just an illusion.
But how fun is it going to be when the Atlanta Falcons play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Every Browns TV is going to be on watching that game.
It's going to be kind of fun. Yeah.
Can't wait. Sign me up.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool.
We have sad lives.
Yeah. So, guys, we've talked a little bit about Monken as far as the offense. And things like that. I mean, he's got a lot of people in his corner, coaches, players, and that talking about how good he is as a coach. There's the other side of him, which is kind of the badass Todd Monken, which I think will kind of be fun to watch. The not putting up with anything from players, which honestly the Browns really haven't had a huge issue with players the last couple seasons. I don't think they have had historically here and there, though, right?
I disagree. I think the Browns just keep us. They work,
or we just don't hear about it
to block all that from it reaching us. I think they put 90% of their effort on that over winning games, and that's part of the problem.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. That's a good point, Andy. That's a really good point.
That's image.
Yeah. It's going to be fun in like the pressers and stuff though too. But I think that it's a big shift to go to that kind of a coach.
You won't get I have to coach better. That's for sure.
Or I got
he's a straight talker. Yeah.
Guys will get called out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how that will affect the locker room.
Well, I think that's
the guys in Baltimore weren't thrilled about that.
Yeah. Baltimore isn't, because they're a bunch of entitled assholes on that team. That's the medicine this team needs. They need to be called out when they're acting like a doofus instead of enabling it by covering it up. It was kind of like when LeBron was here. They just let LeBron do whatever he wanted to because he's the king. And, there were times, especially during his first run, where things weren't really going very well in Cleveland. And I wish there was a guy that could have smacked LeBron and said, hey, we got to win. Okay, so stop it. Knock that shit off. I think this team needs a guy like Monken that's going to call people out, that's going to shove his foot up their ass if they need it. It's going to call out players publicly if that's what it takes. If he calls them out in practice and they don't get the message, do it publicly.
Yeah.
We need a little bit of disruption and chaos, I think, to light a fuse. So that's one of the things that intrigued me about this hire. And I think you would have gotten that from Schwartz too. But I got to say, when I look at those two guys, Monken's a little scarier. He looks like a psychopath.
I think you're right. Have the Browns had a coach with that type of demeanor recently or ever? You guys can think of?
Romeo Crennel. Just want to give you a big hug.
Yeah. Let's say it's slightly different style.
Yeah.
Anybody you guys can think of? I mean, I can't. So, it'll be different. And I think I could see it really. Maybe it is just what they need. And maybe a lot of that stuff is going on, like you said, Andy, behind, that they're covering stuff up, and there's a lot of disruption behind the scenes that we're not seeing, and that's what's kind of hurting the team. And if that's the case, then man, this might be the guy that they need, the type of guy.
I like to think of it as he could be the medicine for the next 2 years, and then maybe we get some culture. We figure out the identity of the team. I understand we have to improve a lot. The talent is very deficient on the offense, but from a culture standpoint, I just don't think it was there with Kevin, and I'm hopeful that sort of medicine could get these guys in line a little bit, so we see them playing their best ball, where we get some wins. And then maybe 2 years later, you realize, okay, Monken, you were great for what you were. Now we're going to go find the upgrade, just like the Cavs when they moved on from JB. JB, I think, brought something we needed, and then they moved on. And that seemed to work. We'll see. They're playing better. I watched them last night, like I said.
So people are already referring to Todd Monken as our bridge coach.
Yeah.
Our bridge head coach. I mean, is he really just an interim head coach at this point?
Look, if he comes out and is amazing. I mean, this is a guy that's probably wanted to be his head coach his whole life, and now he's got his shot. Yeah. So the upside is he could be here for the next 5 years and then get a contract extension. Who knows? But I think the realistic situation is 2 years. And he's gone.
Yeah. So that brings another question to mind. Okay, and you mentioned it's a legitimate question or position that that his approach will make players better. So specifically, and we just finished doing our reviews, our position reviews the last couple of weeks. Specifically, who is going to be here in 26 that Todd Monken is going to need to make better for us to win games?
Well, Shedeur Sanders or the quarterback?
The quarterback's number one. Yeah, whoever's playing.
So do you think that
Jerry Jeudy would be another?
Okay.
Jerry Jeudy, yes, make him better.
Okay, so we're saying that we hit the reset button to make Shedeur and Jerry Jeudy better.
This team's biggest problem is they've been deficient at quarterback for the better half of 27, 6 seasons now. If they could find the quarterback of the future, everything gets easier. So if this is the guy that can help develop a long-term quarterback that can start the evolution, I mean, we asked a question on the Dog Joke. If Sean McDermott had been in Cleveland when Baker got here, would Baker still be here? And I think everyone on the panel said yes, because
probably.
I think it was just a little bit of nonsense, or maybe Kevin and Baker didn't get along. I think if Sean had been here and had a stable organization, that might have been what got Baker to, Baker's what is he? He's a very good quarterback, not a great quarterback, right? But that's all we needed. Maybe that wouldn't have gotten us to a Super Bowl, but it would have at least gotten us out of this shit show that we're in.
I don't disagree with that thought. I just wonder if Sean McDermott would have been enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sean McDermott could have made that happen. Are we giving the Browns organization too much credit for allowing him to make that happen? That's the only question.
He made a pretty bad organization with the Bills, bad ownership, functioned pretty well. Ultimately couldn't get the job done, but we can't even get out of the, out of the basement. So
and I just think it has to do with our expectations, our turnaround forecasts. That Josh Allen, how long did it take him to become what we know today as Josh Allen?
2 to 3 seasons.
3 seasons. Yeah. We've never given a guy that kind of time.
No.
But they were winning games despite his struggles after his rookie year. So it's pretty easy to accept your quarterback when you're winning.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's for sure.
Yeah. He just kept getting better. Yeah. Like season to season, I think. So yeah, it's different, but yeah. I don't know what else. I don't want to knock Buffalo too much. I mean, I've always supported Buffalo fans. They're a lot like Cleveland fans and everything. I love those guys, but Buffalo's organization doesn't look real good right now. They pretty much interviewed everybody the Browns did, and I heard that they were trying to talk to Jim Schwartz and stuff. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's like, you guys, now that you let Sean McDermott go, do you have an original thought in your head? I feel bad for the fans who are passing around petitions to try to get Sean McDermott reinstated. So their fans deserve better. So, anyways, so
I have another question.
Go ahead.
And you guys are going to probably have to hammer me on this one, but as I was thinking about this move, it took me back to the 60s, because I go back that far. When Art Modell fired Paul Brown and hired Blanton Collier, and I'm not comparing Kevin Stefanski to Paul Brown, so don't kill me on that, okay? But when you look at the situation, is Todd Monken really just Blanton Collier without the championship roster?
He's the same type of guy, right? How old was Blanton Collier?
Blanton Collier was soft-spoken. He was really well-respected around the league. He'd never been a head coach before. He was really considered a player's coach, not, I'll hit you over the head with a hammer kind of a coach. But, he was late in his career, and he innovated offensively. But I think he was put in that position because he was a safe choice. And Art felt like he could control it.
That's a good point. I guess the question is why. Is that really why the Browns picked Monken? Because he was safe, or did they pick him because they think he's that good offensively, or why?
I already said I'm not giving the organization the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving Todd Monken the benefit of the doubt.
For me, look, the Art Modell situation, he came in and he wanted to make a splash. He wanted to control the team. He didn't like that Paul Brown was so highly regarded in this town. He wanted to be, the guy. So I think there was a lot of nonsense when he made that move and blew up in the Browns' face. They went to a safe choice. Safe choice doesn't work. Safe choice is bad in that instance when you have one of the best coaches to ever play the game, right?
Yeah.
I think today it's a little bit different. If you want a guy that's going to be a team guy, that's going to, do what you said. Look, Jim Schwartz has been here. He never got out of school. He never talked out of line. He never leaked to the press what was going on. He played ball. So by that notion, if you want a yes man, it should have been Jim Schwartz. Going to Monken, he's an unknown entity. I mean,
yeah,
there were a lot of Ravens players complaining about him and bitching about him. He said some things, as I recall, over the last season. I think Monken is going to be kind of hard for the top brass of the Browns to control. So the fact that they picked him, me thinks it had to do with their evaluation more than their ability to control. And I know we don't want to give any credit to the Cleveland Browns. I'm telling you, if you're going to just give a guy that is a yes man. I mean, make Nate Schieelhaus your coach. The guy's 35 years old. He's going to do whatever, he doesn't know what to do. It's going to be very easy to control him. So
let him learn on the job.
Yeah. If Andrew Berry wanted just to have a yes man, he could have hired a million idiots and they could have, Mary Kay could have talked about what a genius they are and the fans would have eaten it up. Right. I don't think you're going to get that from Monken. I think you're going to see him say some things during some press conferences and, treat players in ways that make the Cleveland Browns top brass a little uncomfortable. And I'm here for it. Give me some popcorn. Sign me up.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. I'm just not sure that Todd Monken was Andrew Berry's hire. I think the similarities between Art Modell and Jimmy Haslam lead me to believe that this is the guy Jimmy settled on. And it's because he loves to be in control. He loves to help out with, the big thought stuff. Rather than just letting football people do what they should do.
Okay, and to that point, we know for a fact Jimmy Haslam was like, yeah, Johnny Football, let's bring him in here. Everyone's talking about the Browns. We know for a fact Sean McDermott was the one that was identified by all of his football people, and he said, Hugh Jackson's the splashy name. Right. No one was calling. Monken is the least splashy player you could have possibly hired. There's 100 names that would have gotten the Browns excited above Todd Monken. That pick was universally hated on Twitter when it was announced. Maybe some football people are starting to say, oh, maybe it'll work out. But I
heard a few things about him.
It's like the fucking Browns are the fucking Browns. Like everyone hates this pick that I talked to. I don't think Jimmy Haslam was doing it to to excite the fan base because this was one you're going to take some lumps, clearly. So that gives me a little bit of faith that this was more about the evaluation. Everyone came together and said, this makes more sense than the other terrible choices we have to pick between. I don't know.
Makes more sense from the perspective that we think we can win now.
Okay.
Is that what the decision was based on?
We're closer than you guys think we are. Yeah.
But
we think this team is this roster is a lot better than it's looked the last 2 years, right?
If the Browns didn't think they were in position to win, then they should have traded all their vets and they should have gone young. They didn't do that because organizationally, I think they believe they have talented roster. I think they think their coaching staff just failed to execute their end of the bargain.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to we don't talk a lot of Art Modell on this podcast. It's kind of like a dirty word and everything, but I just got to say I've seen some people comparing Jimmy Haslam to him on X, and for me, I don't care what Jimmy does. There's still no comparison. Okay.
Well, just wait a minute now. Jimmy's still got time.
He does still have time. Still have time. Yeah. Yeah, but as of right now, I'm thinking that anybody that's comparing the two of them probably wasn't around during the Modell era. Okay.
Wow.
And doesn't know what all Modell did. So
yeah, look, Art started out with great intentions too. Art wanted to win championships here. He wanted to give us. He felt like we deserved a winning team. Art just had no money.
yeah,
Jimmy has the benefit of stupid money.
He's got
He can outspend his mistakes.
right.
That's the difference. Okay. If you look at both of these guys in terms of how they tried to run their organizations, that's why Jimmy gets away with it. Art didn't have the cash flow. He painted himself into such a corner that there was no getting out of it. I mean, he had to borrow money from some guy on the street to try to pay Andre Rison to come here. I mean, Jimmy doesn't have that problem.
No,
So
not
yeah,
hardly.
I remember those days well enough to be able to make that comparison. And look, all these guys are egomaniacs. These billionaires, NFL owners, they're all egomaniacs. Look at all you have to do is look at what has happened in Dallas over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you lose, take ownership of it.
Right.
He ain't doing that.
No, he's not going to do that. Yeah.
First of all, the NFL back in the 60s, it's gone up 100x. That means an owner back in the 60s was just a very wealthy man. Today you've got to be like, the richest of the rich. You've got to be a billionaire. These teams are worth billions of dollars, where before in the 60s the Browns probably cost enough to buy a nice house that Jimmy bought when he moved here.
Right. Seriously.
Jimmy paid $1 billion for the Browns.
Yeah, and
$12
it's
billion.
probably worth $5
Today they're
billion.
worth $6 billion,
Okay, $6
and they
billion.
still suck.
Yeah.
But back in the 60s, look, Art Modell was a shyster. He was a con man, basically just gallivanting all over town, just illusions of that he's this playboy, amazingly whatever dude. From the stories I hear, I wasn't around for much.
Well, look, I'm not here to defend Art Modell.
Sure.
Trust me. I'm just trying to be real about what the problem is with the current organization.
Well,
And
Jimmy's
it's the
problem
owner.
is that if you're the last guy in the room with him, he's like, oh shucks, you're smart, you're making sense.
That's what
And
everybody says.
You're gonna be the one that you go
Yeah.
with. They're very different levels of incompetence. I'm glad that we don't have Art Modell today because, again, he was. I don't want a con man, even though our Jimmy was ripping off truckers. I guess they're both con men, but in different ways.
We got a rich con man.
Rich con man.
Yeah.
I think that Jimmy wants to win. He wants to do the right thing. He wants to be like those smart, Rooney's in Pittsburgh. He just can't figure out how to get it done because he's got too many voices talking to him and he doesn't know which one to listen to. And that's his problem. He listens to one and then he gets frustrated. He goes to the other one. He's a disaster. He's a mess.
I know that.
But he has had Andrew Berry here for a long time, which shows a little bit of commitment. He had Kevin here for a long time. I do think it was probably time for Kevin to hit the road, even though I wish we had kept him one more year, despite the warts. Look, here's the good news. It's either going to take off, which would be great. I would love that. If we have a good year, that'll be fun, right? And if it stays as shitty as it's been, then we get to sweep out the entire house. We have Deshaun Watson out of here, I think. I would hope.
Hopefully.
Andrew Berry's gone, right? Hopefully we have a terrible draft pick in a class that has some really good quarterbacks, which I know we hate talking about that, but it's got to be a reality. So suddenly the job, I think the Browns aren't in the worst possible position that they're in today. They'd be better. So that gives me a little bit of hope. If this is good, that's great. If it's bad, we can work with that. I don't know. We gotta do something.
We've been hanging on hope for 27 seasons.
All we got.
So on the hope scale, now that you've got Todd Monken, where are you sitting, Andy? 1 to 10.
I think this is going to be a team that executes a little better. I think we have a softer schedule next year, at least on paper. I think the team is going to, after 6 years of Kevin telling players what they wanted to hear and not being truthful, which I do believe was his biggest problem, I think they're going to love a guy that puts their foot in their ass a little bit. So I think you're going to see this team play a little better. We got the 2 first-round picks. We got the high second picks. You're going to take 2 tackles and a wide receiver, in my opinion, in some order. If they can hit those picks, and that's the big if. Can Andrew Berry have another good draft? Then yes, I think this team is going to be respectable. And if we can do that, I'm going to be happy on Sundays. I'm not asking for the playoffs. I just want to win as often as we lose or be close. So am I hopeful that's going to happen? Yes. I'm going to say 7 out of 10. We didn't get a coach with high upside. We're not going to get a guy that's going to take us to the promised land, which sucks because I wish we could start to build that kind of, upside. But I do think we got a guy that can keep us steady. And hopefully 2 years from now, the job looks a lot more attractive and we can actually bring in the people that can get us there. That's my hope.
Yeah, I'm probably at about a 6, Jeff, and that could be swayed by the coordinators he brings in and kind of learning more about, I guess seeing the team formed and things like that. So I'm pretty much in the same spot. I mean, I've got some hope, but gosh, I want to see what happens on the defensive side of the ball. And I want to see, who's going to be helping him out on the offensive side too. So, very interesting. So,
Chuck,
I guess.
Where are you at?
Me?
Me?
Well, if you know what, if I was a 7 at the end of the season after winning the last 2 games, I'm probably about a 4 right now. I don't feel like we improved our chances of being better next year. Someone's going to have to convince me of that. But you know what? We've got months to do that.
Fair enough.
We'll work on it, Jeff.
I'm a glass half empty guy.
Yeah, I'm always.
So am I, because I drank them all.
Yeah, they're all empty, and we never gave Andy that break.
Yeah, they're all empty.
Yeah. Awesome. So
We've had very few comments tonight, Rod. Have you not been putting them up?
I've been putting them up.
All right.
Missing a couple.
10 wins.
Jeremy's at 10 wins, and he's at a 7 right there with you, Andy. So,
all right.
Or maybe that meant 7 losses.
10 wins and 7 losses, yeah.
Could be.
Or is he a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think he's 7 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Most likely.
We're going to do that. So
Jeremy's a half. Well, Jeremy's trying to find a full one guy too. So
he's what?
Trying to find a full one.
Oh, I got you.
Andy.
Okay. All right.
So he's got a few extra full ones around.
He's got a few. 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10. All right.
But also 7 losses.
Yeah.
7 losses too. That works out as well. Which we can deal with 7 losses.
I'd love that.
Or so. Yeah, that'd be pretty nice. So, well, Andy, it's been great catching up with you and talking. I'm glad we gave you a chance to get some of this stuff off your chest.
Yes, I so appreciate it. I needed to unload. Therapy. So they call it therapy.
Yeah, everybody needs to check you out on X and, of course, on the Dog Chug. So
I'm going to drive my Browns wrap Cybertruck into Lake Erie after I heard this coaching announcement.
I bet. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Is there anything you want to leave the Browns fans with? Any closing words tonight?
Okay. One more thing I want to bring up, because a lot of people have said that Monken was sort of the architect of why the Ravens offense started to get stale, right? And I understand this is a concern. That's why the Ravens wanted him out. But I believe it's less about Monken not being a good offensive coordinator. And I think, honestly, I watch a lot of AFC North games. I think Lamar Jackson just kind of, Father Time sort of knocked the elite athleticism out of him. Like maybe it was injuries, but maybe he's just getting the wear and tear. He's getting older. I don't know. He seemed to just miss those plays where he just kind of almost gets caught, but then scrambles for 35 yards. They seem to make those plays this time. So I feel like that's more the problem the Ravens have, but they can't obviously move off of Lamar. They can't move off him like we can't move off of Deshaun. He's their quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think Monken was the fall guy, and that's why Harbaugh said absolutely not. He did a great job for us. I will not fire him. And then they said goodbye to Harbaugh. So yeah, if you guys don't remember, how good was Baltimore's offense when Monken first got there? Like, they turned a freakishly athletic Lamar Jackson, who is not a great quarterback, into one of the most elite offenses that we've seen in a long time. This guy did that. Our new coach did that. So I'm cautiously optimistic of the fact that he could be an upgrade over Kevin, because he's, like you guys said, he's not I'm going to fit a square peg in a round hole. He is going to try and figure out, how do we make these guys work? And I love that. It's a good quality. We'll see how he does. But he made that Baltimore offense, that weird Baltimore offense that's unlike any other offense, hum. Let's see what we can do with Shedeur Sanders. So
yeah, it all depends on what he does with our Pro Bowl quarterbacks, right?
Pro Bowl quarterback.
Well, he can bring some of that Baltimore running game to Cleveland too.
That would be awesome too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so,
sorry to go along with it there, but
that's all right.
Wow.
That was one of the things that I've seen a lot of people complaining about him, and I don't think is fair. We'll
Great
see
point.
if Baltimore's offense can magically get better, or if they continue to
slide on down. Yeah. Good point. Good point. So, Jeff, closing words tonight?
I've been saying throughout this process, Ron, I don't care who they hire. I think, the deck's stacked against these guys in Cleveland. I'm going to root for them no matter what. I'm going to hope and pray every week that they find a way to win. I'm just not going to be disappointed when they don't again.
Yeah, I understand. We're right there with you. All right, guys, we thank you all for listening. This has been the Browns Blitz. We will catch you next time.